Alright, let's start with a simple question. Why do we put candles on cakes, sing awkward songs, and count the years we've survived? Why do birthdays, of all things, deserve an entire celebration year after year? We accept birthday parties as a normal part of life, but the deeper you dig, the stranger it becomes. Why do we treat one random day as a reflection of who we are, how far we've come, and what comes next? Today, we're diving into the history, psychology, and cultural power of birthdays, from ancient rituals to Instagram shoutouts, and what it all says about us. Let's unwrap this tradition. Ancient beginnings, the first birthday celebrations. To understand birthdays, we need to go way back. The earliest recorded birthday celebrations weren't for regular people. They were for gods. In ancient Egypt, around 3000 BC, pharaohs were considered divine. Their birthdays didn't mark their literal birth, it was the day they were reborn as gods. That's right. The concept of a birthday started not with babies, but with divinity. Later, in ancient Persia and Greece, things evolved. The Greeks offered moon-shaped cakes to Artemis, the goddess of the moon, often lighting candles to make the cake glow like the sky. Sound familiar? Meanwhile, the Romans were among the first to celebrate the birthdays of everyday people, but only men. Female birthdays weren't officially recognized until around the 12th century. But these celebrations weren't exactly warm and fuzzy. They were political, public, and symbolic, ways to show power, mark status, or appeal to divine forces. The idea of a personal birthday party as we know it? That took much longer to develop. Christianity and the birthday ban. Here's a twist you might not expect. For centuries, birthday celebrations were frowned upon by the early Christian church. Why? Because they were seen as pagan. The idea of honoring the day of one's birth, especially with feasting, gifts, and singing, felt self-centered and worldly. In many Christian traditions, what mattered more was the day of death, when one entered eternal life. So birthday parties were considered spiritually suspect for a long time. That changed over time, particularly with the celebration of Jesus' birth, aka Christmas. Once the birth of Christ was embraced and ritualized, celebrating other birthdays became more acceptable too. Eventually, birthday celebrations re-entered Western culture, this time with a new twist. They were tied to childhood. The rise of the children's birthday. By the 18th and 19th centuries in Europe, particularly in Germany, a new tradition called Kinderfest emerged, birthday parties specifically for children. These parties often featured a single candle for each year of life, symbolic wishes, and small cakes. Sound familiar? Over time, this idea spread to other parts of Europe and America. The Industrial Revolution made store-bought goods and ready-made cakes more accessible. Children's birthdays became a place to express love, celebration, and hope for the future. That's when birthdays began to shift from being religious or political milestones into deeply personal, family-centered rituals. And as advertising and consumer culture exploded in the 20th century, birthdays became something else too, a business. Marketing, memory, and meaning. Today, birthdays are a $10+ billion industry in the US alone. Think about it. Birthday cards, party supplies, balloons and banners, personalized cakes, social media greetings, surprise trips, and of course, gifts. Big companies noticed how emotionally powerful birthdays were, and used that to their advantage. Advertising taught us that a birthday needed a celebration, that you deserve something special, that forgetting a friend's or partner's birthday is a moral offense. But here's what's interesting: even though birthdays are now commercialized, they've never lost their emotional weight. Because beneath the party hats and presents lies something much deeper. Identity, time, mortality, legacy, the psychology of the birthday. Here's a weird fact. People are statistically more likely to die on or around their birthday than any other time of the year. It's called the birthday effect, and while scientists are still debating why it happens, some think it may be due to increased stress, risky behavior, or even unconscious psychological factors. Birthdays aren't just fun. For many people, they're emotionally intense. Why? Because they force us to reflect. On time. On aging. On what we've done, and what we haven't. A child's birthday is often about celebration and potential. But an adult's birthday? That's when the questions creep in. Am I where I thought I'd be by now? What have I achieved? Why am I not happier? What's next? This emotional weight is one reason some people love birthdays, while others dread them. But either way, they're hard to ignore. Social rituals and shared meaning. In almost every culture, birthdays mark more than just age. They symbolize transition. Think of these age milestones. First birthday, a survival milestone in many parts of the world. 13th, bar/bat mitzvah or coming of age in Judaism. 15th, quinceañera in Latin America. 18th or 21st, legal adulthood. 30, 40, 50, decade markers that invite existential questions. 60, 75, 100, celebrations of longevity and legacy. These milestones aren't just about getting older, they're about meaning. That's why we gather. That's why we light candles. That's why we sing. These rituals give shape to something abstract, time passing, and turn it into something we can hold, remember, and share. Digital age, virtual candles. In today's world, birthdays look very different from even 20 years ago. Social media means you now receive dozens, sometimes hundreds, of birthday messages from people you barely know. Facebook and Instagram have automated the ritual. But here's the paradox. You get more greetings than ever, and yet, it can still feel impersonal. Digital birthdays are easier, but often shallower. On the flip side, some people use the day as a moment to disconnect, reflect, or reclaim the meaning on their own terms. Not everyone wants a party. Not everyone wants attention. The meaning of a birthday, like the meaning of a life, is personal. Final thoughts. So, why do we celebrate birthdays? Because it's how we make sense of time. Because it gives us a yearly ritual of self-reflection, connection, and gratitude. Because we live in a world that rarely pauses to acknowledge being alive, and birthdays give us permission to stop and say, I'm still here. Sure, they've been commercialized. Sure, they can come with anxiety or disappointment. But they also offer something rare. A chance to feel seen. A reason to gather. A ritual that belongs to you, and no one else. Whether you celebrate big or small, quietly or extravagantly, birthdays remind us of something essential. Time moves forward. We change. But we're still here. If you enjoyed this exploration of why we celebrate birthdays, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, and tap the bell so you never miss another deep dive. What's your most memorable birthday? Or, do you even like celebrating them? Tell us in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Until next time, stay curious, stay reflective, and keep celebrating the weird beauty of being human.